Okay, now we're going to install the Laravel Passport this time around. So, okay, we're having an issue here, so I'll have to just refresh this, and you see issues. So the issue was as a result of the database that we've not migrated actually. So here you can see that Jeff frame we installed at the initial installed the login and the registration route for us, where the whole thing has already been redesigned for you, registration aspect of it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do first of all, before we talk about using the data here, let's first of all install the passport. Okay, so if we go back to our Laravel documentation, we'll come to official packages. I think the passport is here. Okay, so we'll click on the passport. You see it. Okay, first of all, the passport actually is used for API authentication. Like you can see, Laravel already make it easy to perform authentication via the traditional login, but without. Okay, but what about API? Sorry, API typically use token as the authentication for Laravel. Now, like what I'm trying to say now is, like it's stated here, token are used for API authentication. That means if you want to authenticate a user, you use token with the API, unlike the normal conventional way, which uses sessions. Okay, like if you are used to the native PHP development, you understand that we work with sessions if you're talking about authenticating a user. But in this case, when we're talking about APIs, we use tokens, okay, to authenticate user through APIs. Okay. Now, what we're trying to do is to build an API on this application so that we can communicate with it from a mobile part. That is the mobile version of it. We'll communicate with it. That means we'll have the web version, we'll have the mobile version, and both the web version and the mobile version are going to make requests to this one API so that our data can synchronize perfectly. That means the data here on the web version will be the same with the data on the mobile version. That means if you log in through your phone, the change you made when you logged in through your system is going to be the same change you find when you log in through your phone. Okay, so how we achieve this is simply by using a central database on our Laravel application, then provide an API where the mobile endpoint can make requests from get data from the app, and the data will be sent back there through a simple HTTP requests. Okay, so the major thing we're going to do now, we're going to install the passport just as we install the JetFrame, because the passport is a composer package too. Okay, so we'll simply run this command to install the composer. Okay, the passport composer require Laravel passport. So we'll go back to our application, open up our terminal. We can simply clear this up, then run the command composer required passports. Okay, so I'll simply pause this video. When the installation is completed, I'll resume. Okay, so the installation has been completed. So the next thing we're going to do is to run a migration. Okay, because what actually happened is when they installed the passport, I think the passport is going to add its own migration files. Okay, so to have its own migration files within the application, I can't really figure out where it is here. But actually, if we first of all inspect what we have here on this table, I think we have just 6 tables here on our database. Okay, so let's try run the migrate command. So when we run the migrate command, you will see if actually we have new table created. As you can see, it created the auth code table and the token, access token, refresh token, the clients and the personal access client table. All of them are created. So let's check our database again and see if we have new table added to it. As you can see, we now have 11 tables. Okay, so the passport itself have this migration because it's going to use this for authentication purposes. Okay, so after we've run the migration, the next thing is to install the passport actually. Okay, so what we did here was just to require the passport package. So now it's time to install it on the application. So we'll have to run this command again. Okay, so when we run this command, what will happen is that it will create encryption key on the table that were created. Like here, the first one you can see here now is a client secret, and the second one is the sorry, this one now is the client secret, okay, for the personal access client, while the other one is a password grant client, as you can see. Okay, so if we go to our table here, and I forgot to show you initially. Okay, I forgot to show you initially, sorry. Actually, let me open this. Let me just open it wide. So come to access token. Okay, these are supposed to be created. Okay, refresh this. Okay, okay, these clients, this is where they are. So we have the ID for the first one, the Laravel personal access client, which is this. If you watch what we have here, is this string. Now this one is the Laravel password grant, just the way it specified them on your terminal here. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now is we'll go further to our user model, and on the user model we are going to add the has API token. Okay, use has API token. Okay, now there's something I forgot to mention earlier about the new structure too. Now, before now, what Laravel application will do is on your app folder, this is where you see your models. Okay, but in this new version, we have a new directory called models where all the models are stored. Okay, as you can see, this is the user model. But before now, there is no folder called model. You just see all the models on the app themselves. Okay, on the app directory itself rather. So what this simply implies is that the namespace actually will also change. As you can see, app model. But from the previous version, the namespace will just be that means when you want to use this guy, you can just say app slash the particular model you're looking for. But this time around, you're going to use app slash model slash the particular model you're trying to reference. In this case, app slash model slash user if you are referencing this from somewhere else. Okay, so that's just it. So let's open the user. Okay, the user is already open. Now as the user is open, think it's already here, has API token, because that is what we're supposed to add to the class. Okay, so as you can see, the Laravel has already installed these guys. So the actual one is this has API token. It's already there, and he added the has factory, the profile photo, and two-factor authenticable. Because actually, this new version, you have access to two-factor authentication if you want to build an app that have to use two-factor authentication. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is go to our auth service provider. So I think our auth service provider will simply just type Ctrl P. Just press Ctrl P on your system if you're using VS Code. Then you search for the auth service provider, which actually is in app providers, or that is to say, from our app, if we go to provider, you see the auth service provider here. Okay, so when you open your auth service provider, you have register policies only installed there. So what we are going to do is we're going to add these passport routes. Okay, now before we add the passport route, let's see the current routes we have. Okay, so I'll open up my terminal. If I open up my terminal, I'll simply clear this up. When I clear this up, I'll simply type php artisan route colon list. Okay, this will automatically give me the list of all the routes I have. Okay, I think what I'm seeing here, okay, most of the routes have been registered here. Okay, okay, but I can't seem to find the ones for passports. Okay, let's see. Okay, the passport authentication. Set one for Sanctum, middleware, email verification, session, redirect, verifies ARS as cross-site referencing. Okay, so I can't find. Okay, for passports, because the passport is supposed to be the AO2 routes. Okay, so now let's just go ahead and do the needful. So what we're going to do here now is to register our passport routes on the auth service provider as well. Okay, so we'll simply come here. Sorry, that's here. Okay, come to my auth service provider and paste the passport route. So when I do this, I'll need to import the passport class. So I'll simply right click and come to import class, and automatically the class has been imported. So imported from Laravel Passport / passports. Okay, so that is with that. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our config opt.php and change our API driver to passport instead of token. Okay, so auth will be in the config, not in the app. That's config, the auth.php. Okay, here we have for the web version, we're going to use session to authenticate user. But for API, by default, uses token. But in this case, we're going to change it to passport. Okay, so once we change it to passports, this is an alternative. Assuming we want to use the unique IDs instead of doing auto increment on our table. Okay, instead of doing auto increment on our table. So now I think these are the basic things I will need to do here about passport, except for creating personal access token. Okay, so creating personal access token. So I think I'll do this in the next clip because this clip is long already. So in the next clip I'm going to do that.